up, and welcome back to the Section 10 Podcast, episode 525, presented by Underdog Fantasy. It is the home of your soon-to-be 2025 World Series champion, Boston Red Sox. My name is Jared Carabas, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Coley Mick, and he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Tyler Milliken, and he killed his dog Bullet, and you can't teach that. Bada boom. Realest guys in the room. Steve, how you doing?
Ooh, what up, Section 10 in the building?
In the mother fucking building. Presented by Blue Moon.
Suck one.
Produced by Jake Yazzie.
Fuck,
who's also not here. Yeah, we're down 2 men right now. We got Jeremy on the 1s and 2s. Steve is taking a vacation. He's no one has ever gone to Florida and been able to pull off doing Section 10 at the same time. I don't know how you would accomplish that. But it is it's gonna, I don't want to say it's gonna be a struggle bus episode, but it's definitely gonna be interesting to see where it goes. I will start with this because I threw a tweet out there right before we came on, and I said, what in God's name are we going to talk about? Because nothing happened. Nothing. Not rumors, news, moves, nothing. I went on Pod on Lansdowne, and we did an hour and 25 minutes on Disney last night.
Disney adults?
Which was,
Disney adults, right?
That was part of it. Yeah, that was part of the conversation. Shout out to them. Go check that episode out. But people were excited. Like the amount of replies to this tweet, they were like, this is when the magic happens. This is when there is no Red Sox news to talk about. But then Tyler shows up and he's like, guys, I got you. And he emails us the notes that he always does. And I respect it. I appreciate it. I acknowledge it. I encourage it. He puts in a lot of effort to his notes that he sends to us before each episode. This motherfucker just said, I got 2 pages of notes. And I haven't looked at them because I want him to go through them just right now. Just like the headline. Like Coley and I are very intrigued to see what you landed on that you thought, got to talk about this. This happened since our last episode. Got to talk about it.
Even as you were introing this, you were like, there's nothing to talk about. He's gone, hold on there, pal. I don't know, Jim.
Yeah, there's a lot of Alex Bregman talk going on. A lot of people losing their minds.
I don't...
From who?
I felt like Twitter over the weekend when the Spear report came out, it was just like, we mentioned
what
it last
was the
episode.
Spear report? This
Stuff
is what
that we had talked about.
Alex
100%.
Bregman latest. Alex Spear's report on Saturday absolutely set Twitter on fire. Where was the fire? I didn't see it. Where was the fire?
Oh my God. People were losing their minds when they had basically come to the realization that Alex Bregman wasn't coming here. I know we had been talking about it. We had been early.
Saying that, why?
I tweeted it. But people don't believe
Tyler, why do people, when Alex Spear and Jeff Passan are like, oh, I don't think it's likely to happen. I said there was 1% or less before all them, and everyone's like, we'll see. And then Alex Spear says, and everyone's like, oh my God. I said 1% or less before any reporter said shit. And now everyone's freaking out. What? Why don't you listen to me?
I don't know.
Listen to me.
I tweeted it out just to say what was in that article was essentially what hypothetically we were discussing last podcast.
I didn't even throw a hypothetical on it the last week. When I said if nothing changes, it's 1% or less. I didn't even use the hypothetical barrier that time.
It all started, I think, with the Chandler Rome report, which was a variable I think a lot of people didn't know. The Chandler Rome, he's a Houston Astros beat writer for The Athletic. He had basically came out and said Thursday, the day after we recorded, that the the Astros and Alex Bregman had re-engaged. That was the thing. That their offer of 6/156 had always been on the table, but the 2 sides had circled back and we're talking once again.
So the 6, all right. Yeah. So I saw the whole, 6/156 is still on the table. Like, it was always on the table. And hypothetically, it might even be a little bit better than that.
Whoa. So they actually did alter the offer potentially.
I'm just guessing. I'm just throwing, I don't know.
I'm just guessing. Houston or us?
Don't listen to me. because I don't know shit. Hypothetically, the Astros.
Oh, okay. I don't care.
Well, when you have pictures of Jose Altuve leaking online and him trying out left field already and kind of seeing what it looks like for baseballs out there, it seems pretty telling. But after that, it seemed like the whole picture following with Spear right after that report just put Red Sox fans into the place of, hey, if you were trying to hold on to hope, if you were trying to be positive and optimistic, it's pretty clear there's multiple long-term offers here that just make more sense than what the Red Sox are offering, at least for what Bregman wants.
I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe right now, because even today, and no, it wasn't Alex Bregman. I can't even tell you the last time that we spoke. Someone who knows things said, let me pull it up. I'm not gonna read it verbatim, but I'll give you the gist. And I almost got pissed. I was like, just fucking stop with this. Actually, you know, I feel like I've already said too much. We should bleep that. Let's see. How do I read this and make it consumable for this audience to get the point across? Let's just say there are people out there who thinks it's very possible still. I don't know what to make of that.
Passan threw water on it last night.
Who did?
Passan. He went on Michael Kay's radio show and essentially said he doesn't see it as likely.
Yeah, and I don't either. Like I 1% or less. If that's not throwing water on it, then what are we doing? I love Bregman. I would love to have him in Boston. If he's got 6 years, because that's the other thing that's been pissing me off about this.
2 times. 2 teams are offering 6 years.
Yeah, if he's got that, great. God bless him. More power to him. I hope he makes every dollar he can. But what irks me about this situation is that when people start comparing me to fucking John Heyman, being like, Carabas is just carrying Bregman's water and he's trying to like get him to Boston at any cost. That's not the case. Do I want him here? Absolutely. Yeah. But on the right deal. I'm not like screaming from the mountaintops if Breslow doesn't give him 7 years to best all these offers. Like, what are you doing? Like, no, like I want him here at the right deal. I want him to make as much money as he can. I hope he gets as many years as he's in search of. But if he's going to come here, I want it to be a deal that makes sense for the Red Sox. Like, I'm a Red Sox fan. I'm an Alex Bregman fan, like the guy, like the player, but Red Sox come first. It's got to be the right deal. I don't know when at any point people took me wanting Alex Bregman on the Red Sox to be some sort of like do whatever it takes. If he wants 7 times 30, just do it. Like, no, like I've never felt that way. I've never said that. But I don't know. I don't want to say that I'm fatigued by the situation.
I am.
But I think I am a little fatigued by the situation. I'm sure Bregman is fatigued by the situation. I'm sure he's like, what the fuck, you know? But that's what happens when you hire Scott Boras. He's going to wait it out till the very last minute until he gets a deal that he wants, and they're going to play chicken. He's not afraid to play chicken, and that's what they're doing.
I feel like if these deals were as concrete as they're being reported, he would have signed by now, personally. I don't foresee a jump to 200 if what's being reported is even remotely accurate.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Someone said that Coley put me in a box because he said if Bregman really has these 6-year deals, he would have taken them by now.
No,
Jared really thinks that he has the 6-year deals, and Coley put him in a box.
You obviously have way more like you know a lot more than I do. But I also feel like I understand these teams just aren't going to budge to where they are. And like you even heard Cohen talk about how the Alonso deal was pitched to him. He was like, the fucking structure of it pissed me off. Like the money isn't the issue. It's how they're asking for it. So that could easily be the hang up. That was more what I'm saying. Like if he had the deal that he's been waiting for, that's why it's like, I can't really care what's being talked about by anyone right now. at all. It's a Groundhog
John
Day.
Heyman.
Every day
John
is the same
Heyman is
shit.
the one that's reporting the multi 6-year offer. So
Correct.
consider the source there. Like you want to talk about fucking puppets, not having sex with puppets. You want to talk about puppets. John Heyman.
And what's wrong with that? Huh?
I'm not. Don't knock it. I guess like everyone's got their kinks, but for me, consider the source. John Heyman is the one that said that there's 2 6-year offers on the table for Alex Bregman. So take that for what it's worth, because he's obviously in the business of creating leverage for Scott Boras clients. Like that's just a fact. Like he's been caught so many times doing this. But is it possible that, I think the Houston Astros offer has been reported for months. And if it weren't true, I think someone on the Astros side by now would have been like, yeah, that report's not true. It's been out there since what, November?
Yeah, I think everyone just assumed after the Walker stuff and Paredes that it was off the table and just no one had reported on it. No one had said a word about it. I think the reason Bregman hasn't taken the Astros deal is
I think the Section 10 podcast had mentioned something about the Astros offer still being on the table.
Okay. I didn't remember that if that's the case. But I think the whole reason Bregman hasn't taken the Astros deal is because of the AAV. It's $26 million. That would be, going down from what he made this past season, which was $30.5 million. So that's kind of a decrease that probably makes him uncomfortable. I think even the other 6-year deal, it screams Blue Jays, if it is true to me, with John Heyman, a 6-year deal where you're giving him an opt-out after the first year. It's like, okay, we know the Tigers and Bregman have been at a stalemate. That's been the reporting over there.
Doesn't that seem like a Cubs thing to do?
Well, no, the Cubs, according to Bruce Levine, have been on a short-term deal because they can't afford it, similar to the Red Sox.
Right. So an opt-out after 1 year, doesn't that seem like a Cubs thing to do?
Unless you fall into a 6-year deal.
Maybe.
You think? So, listen, I'm taking as what you're saying is maybe that is.
No. I'm just guessing. I don't know. I don't know.
And the Mets
that's just
are
a
out.
guess.
That's the other thing for Mari Alexander.
Okay.
That's crazy to me. I just can't believe the Mets doing this.
Feels like they're moving closer to figuring it out with Pete Alonso, in my opinion. The fact that those camps are talking again.
Yeah.
Not Cohen.
Yeah, Cohen's like, this guy sucks, actually.
Credit to him, not only for handling that situation, because I thought that moment at their fan fest was very similar to when you were on stage with John Henry Jarrett and they were booing Heim and going after him, and he chose not to say anything, except baseball players are expensive and look at his watch. Steve Cohen did the actual opposite, and you saw how fans react to it. Yeah, I must have misspoke there. But with Cohen, I think he did the complete opposite. And you saw what happens when you're willing to talk with fans and have those conversations out. It also helps when you pay Juan Soto. That's a big part of it as well. Right. But yeah, I don't know. I think where the Red Sox are at right now, 4 years is seemingly as far as they're willing to go. And they include in there that people inside the organization are pretty comfortable with the idea of Christian Campbell being on the opening day roster at second, at left, wherever it may be. That's
how I know they're not serious, which I've been okay with this whole time. You won't find a clip of me being like, please go sign Alex Bregman. The Christian Campbell, that's like really the only thing I've heard any Red Sox people talk about the last week is just Christian Campbell. They did this last year with Willie Abreu, and they were like, yeah, we're not actually going to sign Teoscar. We've got Willier at home. Like this is how they leak it out that they're out. And I don't disagree with it. Get Christian Campbell on the fucking team.
I'm kind of getting there as well. Just comfier with the idea.
I just wish for them, right? It's the idea of getting Christian Campbell and him being on the opening day roster. I'm all for it, with or without Bregman. But when you look back to what Breslow was saying when they got at the start of the offseason after the Garrett Crochet trade, to say it's a priority to replace Tyler O'Neill and figure that out, if you were just going to be in the camp of it being Christian Campbell, and you could have said it then. You could have just kind of painted the picture there. Now you've kind of played this thing out with Alex Bregman, which shows over a 3 or 4 year deal, you would be comfortable with him being here, however it may be. So you do have questions about how Campbell's going to react to being on the big league roster and or how Grissom could handle second base, however that situation plays out. And it's also led to you not handling business elsewhere. You still have stuff you need to do on the relief market to get to this point where you feel comfortable with the bullpen. Another thing Breslow highlighted after the Crochet trade and at winter weekend. So I don't know. It just feels, why are you wasting your time with this Bregman stuff if you're fine with Christian Campbell and that's just what it is for you?
Well,
because replacing the whole reason everyone's hung up on Bregman.
Take a breath. The best app for your big game party is right on your phone. That's right. You and all your friends could be feasting on Underdog. Ride together on stats like passing yards, first TDs, interceptions, and so much more. If you or your friends haven't joined Underdog yet, get on there. Whoever signs up today using the promo code Jared, that's Jared, will get up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Again, that is promo code Jared. All right. I don't want to do like a big Alex Bregman conversation today. There's just nothing really new there. It's just a lot of like,
there hasn't been.
Yeah. Like I haven't completely given up on it, but I've also I've mentally prepared and carved out the reality of what's life after he signs elsewhere. Am I comfortable in that? I'm comfortable with Christian Campbell making the team on opening day. I'm not comfortable with that being the right-handed bat that you add. I think, are we at the point now where it's kind of too late for trades? Maybe. Like, unless it's like Nolan Arenado, who it's, the situation has deteriorated. Is that deteriorated? So that the Cardinals probably want to move on from him. It's like, okay, fine. But if you're going to, I think we've passed the point of getting creative for a right-handed bat trade. I think at this point, we're 2 weeks away from pitchers and catchers. Teams are pretty comfortable going into the season as is. And I don't think there's, a big name, talented right-handed bat that a team is going to want to move on from right now. With like February is what, 2 days from now? So
yeah, I kind of said this like 2-3 weeks ago. Like teams see pitchers and catchers reporting, and I think it's more like, hey, we've spent enough money. Like we're comfortable with this. Let's just move on. Like the Red Sox, I heard this on Sox Prospects. So Tyler, I'm sure you heard it too. Do you know the last bat they've signed, Jared? Like the major league contract bat.
The Red Sox?
Yeah.
Was it Tyler
I couldn't
O'Neill?
believe it when I heard it. No, they traded for him.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Victor Santos and Nick Robertson.
Oh, the last
a guy like
bat
that.
The Red Sox signed.
It's a guy exactly like Tyler O'Neill.
Are we talking about going into 23?
It was in 23 when this happened. So yeah.
Rob Refsnyder?
No, Adam Duvall.
Oh.
Because I don't even think Refsnyder was signed to a major league contract.
Refsnyder was here in 22, right? If I recall correctly.
Probably, but I even then I don't know that it was a like guaranteed major league deal.
Yeah, no,
So-
it definitely wasn't.
The last time the Red Sox signed a major league position player,
Yeah.
was Adam Duvall.
Yeah.
Craig Breslow hasn't signed a bat yet.
And that was a 1-year deal.
Correct.
When's the last time the Red Sox signed a position player? Oh, I guess it was Yoshida.
Trevor
Position
Story.
player to a multi-year deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it'd be Yoshida.
Yeah. Well, depends who you ask if he's a
Oh.
position player or not.
Rob Refsnyder.
But that was a
Wasn't that
re-sign.
like a minor league deal?
You got the
No.
option year, right?
That was a re-sign. He was already here.
Yeah. So that's at least a multi-year
Like
deal.
free agent import Adam Duvall, who they then just let walk and replace Tyler O'Neill to do the same thing. It's sad, man. It's sad. There's one team that I think potentially, Tal, you notice how quiet it's been since I've stopped talking like this? Just not all of Twitter. No one has anything new to talk about because I haven't
No.
said anything in a while.
Please float a rumor so somebody can say something.
The shit with the Padres front office is absurd. And you've got the brothers. They were dragging her. They blamed her for not getting Sasaki. This is the mistress of the previous owner, who they won't even allow in the friends and family box. It's so ugly over there. They're so distracted. I think you could do some maneuvering over there. They don't know what they want to move. They have no idea. But I bet they want it cheaper.
Out there in Cease right now.
That's what I'm saying. If they're floating King, which is insane to me, and so like pick one, obviously keep one, trade the other.
How many years of control does King have left?
One. What's this?
They both have one.
I'd rather.
So that's why
I'd
it's
rather finesse Tatis.
That's what I'm saying. Now's the time. Be like, hey, we'll help you out so bad if you want to shed some serious salary. Because Harold Reynolds was on TV talking like this yesterday. He was like, they shouldn't trade one of the pitchers. They should trade one of their big contracts. They're not going to trade Machado, I don't think. They're going to trade the guy who makes the most. That's Tatis.
Yeah, moving Machado is going to be hard.
AAV wise, isn't it Machado?
No, is it Xander? No, Xander's in the mid-20s. It might be Machado's.
Yeah.
But they've been trying to move Xander all offseason. That's been reported in multiple spots. There's no one willing to even consider it.
That.
No. I love Xander, but like it is undeniably the worst contract in maybe the history of the sport.
The second it was signed, but I love for him. But
I'm happy that he made the money, but I mean, man, what a mistake that was by the Padres. But imagine that gift if Xander's contract forced the Padres to trade Fernando Tatis Jr.
I would do it so fast.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because they would send money too. That's just how every trade works now. That's why these trades take so long. Every trade requires money.
I don't even want to talk about it because I feel like we talked about this in a previous episode in the entire, like we put out a clip about it and the reaction from, like it got to Padres Twitter and they were like, we're not fucking trading him. He's the one guy we won't trade. It's like, well,
they obviously
shouldn't this anymore.
They obviously shouldn't, but yeah, we have no idea what that front office is thinking. All the money they spent, they regret because the guy who spent it passed away. I'm not trying to make light of that. That's literally what happened. Mm-hmm. And now there's literally like succession fighting over the Padres. It's a perfect time to rob them.
Rob them.
They haven't signed a free agent all offseason. And now Robert Suarez is popping up in trade rumors, who's another guy with the Red Sox in their kind of relief situation. Who? I don't know.
Who did you say?
Robert Suarez.
Oh, where'd you see that?
It's just been reported now from San Diego side.
Whom?
I believe Kevin Ace. We didn't say anything last episode. We just talked about a relief arm. Nothing. But if that's the kind of arm, and I think it's $10 million for 1 year and then a 2-year club option afterwards, for those kind of worried about where the Red Sox are reliever wise, it makes some sense.
Yeah. It sure would, Tyler. It sure would.
I would go shopping on the Padres. I would take Cease.
King's from BC.
Xander. Yeah, Michael King shut me the fuck up last year. I was always very low on him, and then he went out and had like the best playoff debut in MLB history. I was like, all right, that'll do it. That'll certainly do it.
I mean, again, this is stuff I don't want to think about. I don't want to be the Debbie Downer of the show. I feel like I am a lot, but I'm trying to be as realistic as possible. And the idea of Alex Bregman on the Red Sox no longer feels realistic to me. What you're saying makes plenty of sense. That's what the Red Sox should do. The Red Sox should try to rob the Padres blind of their talent. Do I feel confident that they will do that? No.
Oh, no.
But when Coley puts something out into the ether, for anyone that's unfamiliar, maybe you're a new listener. If Coley puts out, an idea, I don't want to say it's far-fetched, any baseball idea that Coley has, then other reporters will be like, I heard that the Red Sox might be interested in robbing the Padres blind. Direct quote, robbing the Padres blind, sources say. And then, that gets around and maybe it forces some action somewhere along the line, the chain of command. I don't know. It's worth putting out there.
Like, I think you could actually pay kind of like the Soto trade, which I thought they got pretty robbed blind, even if they turned it into Cease, but now they're getting rid of those guys too. I think you could pay with like decent players. It's just obvious. It would be such a huge win for us. Like they don't know, most of the league doesn't want Tristan Casas right now. They probably think he's sick. So you can put him in that. We know we want him. We know the team wants to move him still. That's what's really pissed me off about this offseason. They don't do anything other than like drag the names of their corner infielders around. It was such a bad offseason the more I think about it. I don't understand what the plan was. Crochet and Buehler were obvious like win now moves. Even if like Crochet is going to be here for the next 7 years, I hope he is. It was a win now move. There was no other reason to do that now. You didn't have to. And Buehler's a 1-year deal. It has to be a win now move. I don't understand the lack. They have so much to do still. Like they have to figure out the outfield. They have too many people. I don't understand what they're doing.
Unless they're at the point where they just know it's a matter of time before they plug Ceddanne Raphael into the utility role. And they say, hey, we won't make the decision to start the season, but, call it May when we feel Roman Anthony's ready. Boom. It's that easy for us. We'll just tell Raphael to hit the bench. Roman, you're going to go play left field while you're hold down right. Jarren Duran, do center.
See, like, what sucks about this whole situation right now is I want to see the positive. And I as we start to get, pitchers and catchers reporting, I will probably start turning a little positive just because baseball's back and I'm naturally happier and my brain is like, how do we get excited about this? But I think what's going to inevitably happen for me, if this is it, Bregman's not coming, they don't trade for a right-handed bat. Maybe let's just say hypothetically, and this is not informed at all, I think it's out there, whatever. Let's say they sign Randall Grichuk and that's your right-handed platoon bat. For me, I can get behind, like I still think that the effort was piss poor and I'm disappointed about the offseason, but I can totally get behind, like, this is the year where Roman Anthony comes up and maybe Marcelo Meyer comes up and Christian Campbell comes up. It's just different. Like, I don't want to run out the same old bullshit and be like, this is the plan, 81 and 81, let's run it back. It's not that. It's at least the marking of a new chapter. When you have this next, like we keep talking about, the waves of prospects, like Tanner Houck and Jarren Duran. And it's like, yeah, like those guys came up and they hit. That's awesome. Like you hit big on those two guys, all-stars. But that was not the wave that people were waiting for. Like the post Mookie Betts trade wave of prospects that we were waiting for is this next one. It's like, it's not like we hyped up the previous wave or waves plural. This was the one that everyone was waiting for and it's coming. So I'm not trying to say, because I hesitate to say that because I automatically get pinned with, well, you're just carrying water for ownership. This is exactly how Sam Kennedy and the Red Sox want fans to think is, well, we didn't spend any money again, but boy, are we excited about our young, cost-controlled, cheap-ass prospects that we have coming up. I get the frustration looking at it through that lens. But as a Red Sox fan, I can sit here and genuinely tell you I am excited for that. Like this is what we've been waiting for. It's just also, I think what we've been waiting for in totality is Campbell, Meyer, Anthony, Teal, who's no longer here, also being supplemented by some sort of star being acquired, whether it be via trade or free agency. We were supposed to get this next wave and a Tatis trade or a Soto signing or something. It was supposed to be like, bang, like here's the next wave plus a built-in superstar in their prime. Like that's what it was supposed to be. But I'm not going to say get behind because that would be endorsing the fact that they didn't spend any money again. But I can still get excited for that. I can still get excited for 2025 being the year that marked the arrival of this next chapter of Red Sox baseball.
It's why did you have to come with the messaging that you had to? If you shouldn't have come in, if this was it and you saw, hey, we need one more year for, Anthony and Campbell and Meyer to get their feet wet here, do their thing. And then 2026 will be the launching pad, which Jeff Passan said on the Michael Kay show last night. that, 2026 will be the year the Red Sox are terrified of everyone. If that was the case, there was no reason for you to go to the end of the year press conference and talk the way you did. That it was about winning the American League East. It was about 90 to 95 wins. We're planning to invest more in the team. You did not have to say any of that bullshit. There was no reason to force that down anybody's throat because Cora, Breslow, wherever they were able to talk and speak, it was the same messaging. It was stronger than even a year before. And then Sam Kennedy doubled down on it again in that Michael Silverman column that came out in November. There was no reason to keep pushing that as hard as you did. And yet you stand here right now. It's $31.92 million until the first CBT threshold. Last year, you were at 226 by the end of the season. You're at 208 right now, close to 209. The truth is here, and as you kind of put this whole thing together, I think where the Red Sox are at, they believe they're really at like 228, 229. You want to know why? Because they assume they're going to get the Garrett Crochet extension done. That's going to be their last big swing of the offseason. And that, like a year ago with Bayo and Rafaela, which was a little over $15 million, that inflated the numbers and made it look like they had actually spent more over the course of the offseason. That will be like, hey, we're only like $10 million away from the first CBT threshold. We're probably going to sign a reliever here, so it'll be like $5 or $6 million, and then we'll make a decision at the trade deadline. Where I would sit there and say is, hey, cool, you want to wait to the trade deadline? Look at what Andrew Friedman said a couple days ago. Why do you put so much importance on making the moves they do during the offseason right now? Because when you get to the trade deadline, it's going to cost you 3 times as much. And if you have true intent on competing, you have true intent on matching those words that you had at the start of the offseason, then you should not act the way you did this offseason. You should not be sitting here when people are starving for you to have urgency. We're in the same waiting game for a need, like we were with Jordan Montgomery a year ago, with Alex Bregman right now, where he seemingly checks the most boxes of anyone left out there. So you're just sitting there and starving because you chose to sit back on the market instead of being aggressive and kind of setting the tone like a lot of people wanted you to. You end up in the same position year after year when you try to win the deal.
So before we continue this conversation, I do want to play that clip that Stats pulled the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
It is it's about 2 minutes. It's about 2 minutes, and it is a compilation of things that Sam Kennedy and Craig Breslow said at their press conference following the conclusion of the 2024 season. And we can just gauge our thoughts after hearing it fresh, because we all watched it for the first time. Yes,
he said this was like from like the first 8 minutes of the press conference too. Like it's not, he didn't break down the whole thing.
No. Okay. So here we go.
I think the building blocks are there to get back to where we belong. And that's exactly what we intend to do this offseason.
And so we need to improve our defense, right? We can point to a defense that was, kind of bottom of the league, especially our infield defense. We had the second most blown saves in the league. So shoring up our bullpen, obviously our lineup is pretty imbalanced in terms of being left-handed heavy, figuring out how to balance that out, how to take advantage of, the short left field wall. We saw the effect of a guy like Tyler and 30-plus home runs, as a right-handed power hitter in the middle of the lineup. So I think the combination of, improving starting pitching depth, rebuilding the bullpen, we have some notable losses there, shoring up the defense and balancing out the lineup.
Just don't like to talk publicly about our payroll plans because we see it as a competitive advantage in the American League East to not tip our hands to our competitors. That said, I can assure you that the feeling is that our fans have been through a lot. They've been patient, and it's time to get back where we belong. We thought we had a good shot at getting there this year, but it's time to get back and go for that division title, play baseball in the postseason. That's why we're here. That's literally why the three of us are here. There's nothing like October baseball, and that's our responsibility and our obligation to the best fans in baseball. We fell short of that this year, but we're going to work tirelessly to get us back where we belong in the American League East. That's our commitment to do everything we can. And talk is cheap right now. Words are hollow, but that's what we're gonna work on this offseason. And getting into that postseason, you can't mess around in 83, 84, or 85 wins. That's not where you want to be. You want to win the division, get in, be in a position where you're sitting in a bye position and lining up.
So right off the top, they talked about improving the infield defense. Did they do that?
Nope.
No. They talked about the lineup balance being too left-handed. Did they do anything to fix that?
Nope.
No. They talked about the payroll. We're not going to like let anyone know what our plans are payroll-wise, but boy, are we going to spend the fuck out of some money. Did they do that?
Nope.
No. Okay. So I know that I like often get accused of like defending Sam Kennedy, and like I think the last time he came up on this show was at the FanFest episode, and I said like a lot of the stuff that he said I did not agree with, like namely the leadership points. Like when Lou was talking about how like, you know, Duran needs someone to talk hitting with, and you know, Sam was like, well, we have Alex Cora. And it's like, well, okay, that's not what we're looking for here. And like, oh, we have Trevor Story. He's a veteran. It's like, yes, but when he's hurt all the time, he's not around the team. He's not, you know, like when you are on the injured list, you can be in the dugout, but it's like you're still like you're on the team, but you're not a part of the team. It's kind of like next man up and they move on. So it's not the same. You're not at the cage. You're not taking swings. Like you're not around to like talk hitting. Like that's just not how that goes. So I did push back on that. But like when it comes to Sam, it's like his job is to go out there and be the shield for John Henry. Like that's where your arrows should be pointed. John Henry signs the checks. Tom Warner, yeah, he's part of the ownership group, but he runs the show. Like he's the Nesson and whatever. Like I think the biggest example that we could have taken from like his, I guess, blame pie percentage was the full throttle thing. I think he actually believed that. And when it didn't happen, it's not because he didn't want it to. It's because John Henry signs the checks. Sam's going to speak for John because I think the entity that is the Boston Red Sox, after the winter weekend fiasco, they've decided we're not going to put this guy in front of a microphone anymore. So Sam has to go out there, and imagine having to answer for someone else all the time. If John Henry is not signing off on, you know, like let's spend $750 million on Juan Soto. All right, fine. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. But it's embarrassing that Adam Duvall was the last position player that they've signed. And he was 34 years old, and it was a 1-year deal. And sounds you're just, right. Yeah, like I like that's the guy. And I'm not, again, like I get why people, it's one thing to be frustrated with what Sam says, but at the end of the day, it is his job to be the mouthpiece for John Henry. That's the guy that you have to be like, dude, what are we doing here? If John Henry got in front of a microphone today at a press conference and said, things are going to change around here. Like Sam can sit up there and say, we're going to operate differently. We need to get uncomfortable. We realize we have to spend more money. It's like, all right, you can say those things, but like, can you snap your fingers and make that happen? No, only John can do that. He's the only guy that can sit up there and say, you know what? I'm tired of not making the playoffs. I realize how frustrated our fan base has become after the Mookie Betts trade, after not making the playoffs, and not just not making the playoffs, but not even coming close, not even threatening, like finishing in last place, finishing 500. Like it ends today. He's the only man that can sit up there, say those things, and have change come afterwards. So, like, you know, some of the stuff that we just heard in that clip, it's bullshit. You know, like, did you improve the defense? No. It's not even like they signed someone or traded for someone and we're having a debate over whether or not that person helps. They didn't even do that. It's the Carlos same Narvaez. Fucking infield minus maybe Christian Campbell being the second baseman.
Right. Which they could have easily just hyped him up the whole time and been like, that's the guy. Plenty of Yankee fans right now are like, we love Jason Dominguez, and I understand why. They also went out and did things even after losing Soto. I don't think they did enough. I don't think they have like a markedly better team, but they they can point to their young guy. He's been their plan the whole offseason. They never shied from it, to the point where they only talk about, like, why are we doing this at third base? Like, they love the Dominguez thing. We could have easily done that with Campbell. Be like, hey, that's part of our roster balance. If Vaughn Grissom's as good as we think he is, then Christian Campbell can move to a different position. That's how versatile he is. That's two right there. I understand people would have been like, I don't give a fuck about Vaughn Grissom, but I keep hearing good things about Christian Campbell. It would have been super simple. Like, I'm always quick to blame John Henry. I don't know that this one is his fault necessarily. And as someone who agrees with Craig about not wanting Bregman, I would much rather him be like, no, I'm not just signing a guy to placate people, because that is the easy way out. If Alex Bregman comes here, continues to fall off a cliff, as most 30-year-olds do, and then he gets fired for signing this guy, like, I would rather him go out his way. And I'd also rather the organization not force a move on him and overstep him, because then he is powerless and he gets pantsed in front of everybody. He can't do anything ever again. So I would almost prefer, if that's his plan, let him stick to his plan, but they just shouldn't have spoken any other way this whole time. That was dumb.
Yeah, and you look at Breslow, no one put a gun to his head and made him say the things about needing to replace Tyler O'Neill and how important it is to balance it that way and get those 30-plus home runs you lost. No one forced him to say any of that. He said that all on his own choice to show them that they did need to kind of figure out the lineup in that way. And I think for Craig here, where I get a little stuck here is, all right, cool. You don't want to go more than a 4-year deal here. That's where you stand. So clearly you like the player to some degree. There's something there. Are you just doing this to say, hey, Cora, Sam Kennedy, that other higher up person you referenced last episode, Jared, that wants Bregman? Is he just sitting here putting an offer on the table and say, hey, I'm doing this for you guys. I'm trying. If that's the case, they're operating wrong in totality. If there is some interest on Breslow's part, where things get frustrating and annoying for people is they want you to have conviction on a player. Eventually, there has to be a guy or someone you're willing to extend yourself for and make yourself uncomfortable. The reason the heat gets turned up right now is because there's one guy who fits that profile left on the market. Last year, you know, when Teoscar Hernandez was sitting out there and you just had to find someone to take Kenley Jansen's money, which was embarrassing in its own right. They
didn't have to do that.
They didn't have to do that. But even still, if that's what it was, cool. Have the conviction, have the kind of push in yourself to say, we're going to go get this guy. We're going to extend a little out of our comfort zone. That hasn't happened. And now that there's one guy left on the market, everyone's just attached that all to Bregman is, hey, he's the one guy. He's the one guy that we can sign here. And look, it'll show that the Red Sox are serious and they're back. And in all reality, Bregman, is he a perfect fit? No, he checks off the most boxes. That's it. And that's where you fall into the Jordan Montgomery thing, where last year, not a perfect fit, but it felt like he checked the most boxes. And I think the only difference here, and what's even more frustrating, is it felt like with Jordan Montgomery a year ago, that could get you to 85 wins. This year, I think when you talk Alex Bregman, I think they could win 85 games today. I think you get Bregman, you could win 90 games. You could win the AL East. You could be in that conversation. And that's even a tougher pill to swallow when you listen to how they talked at the start of the offseason. It's right out there for you to go have that A offseason. You just have to be willing to extend another year? You think if they offer 528, call it 146 or whatever that would be, does that get it done for Bregman? It's a tough decision.
I don't know, but I think what Bregman ultimately has to, maybe it's not even Bregman, maybe it's Boris. You have to pick one. Do you want the years or do you want the AAV? Because if you've got a 3-year offer in front of you for the AAV that you're in search of, okay, there you go. There's your respect. There's your dollars. But if you want the years, then you're not going to get the AAV that you have in a 3-year offer. It's just you're not going to get both. So what are you in search of? Because if you have the 6-year offer and multiple 6-year offers in front of you, then like what are we doing here? Why are we still unemployed at the moment? It just doesn't make sense to me.
That's how I put you in a box.
I think Jared,
I'm still in the box.
I think that's where that Houston point you make gets very interesting to me. 6 years from Toronto, I don't want to go to Toronto. If you wanted to go to Toronto, you would have figured it out. Let's say that is the 6-year offer. Detroit, we've had that conversation 8 million times. Maybe they add another year, it becomes more interesting. I think we know Boston would be his preferred destination outside of Houston. If Houston's upping that AAV, it feels like it's only a matter of time then. It's just getting the number to whatever, a couple more mil there, a couple more here. But those other two teams, it doesn't feel like there's been enough of a want for him to land there. The fact that he went back to Houston tells you all you need to know. It's like, there's not enough interest there, and the Red Sox aren't willing to extend because I want years.
So, gun to your head, do you think he goes back to Houston?
Yes.
Coley?
I just don't. love that there's a gun to my head.
Well, it's a
That's
a squirt gun.
Pretty drastic. Yeah, but what if it gets in my ear? Now I've got
It's aimed at your
this all
chin.
day.
Swimmer's ear.
My chin. Boy, oh boy. No, I think when it goes this long, like mystery teams heavy in play. Like the Phillies have been weirdly quiet all off season.
They've had a good off season.
Luzardo.
With trade market wise, but who have they signed? Am I forgetting someone? They lost Hoffman and they traded for Jesus Lizard.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, right?
Yeah, it was all
There
about
was one
Alec
other move, I forget.
Don't think so.
I don't know, but
They lost Austin Hayes. He just left.
Yeah, I mean they're crumbling in front of us.
Oh, Max Kepler.
yeah,
Max
I like that
Kepler,
move. 1 year deal.
solid move.
1 year deal. Yeah.
Solid move. But I mean, the longer this plays out, like I always fear a guy like Dombrowski being like, "Wow, no one signed Bregman, huh? Well, I will."
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like there aren't big dick owners in play on Bregman. I don't think it's a.
They're certainly
I
not
don't know.
acting like it if he's not signed.
I think it's a destination preference thing. I do, because if the Jays are in, it's not like he doesn't have the money. The Jays are begging people to take their money. I don't want to talk about Bregman anymore.
But for him, it's that simple. Are you going to sit there for maybe even a slightly better deal for the Tigers or for Toronto when you can go to Houston? You're going to get your friggin' number retired there. You're going to be an Astros legend. You get to stay with all your buddies in that ballpark. Like, you get all of those things. The only negative thing I've heard, and I haven't seen this reported anywhere, but Sean McAdams said this on Fenway Rundown, that he has concerns about the Astros farm system. Now, I look at Alex Bregman and I have a hard time believing that would be a point for him, but I don't know. Is that the one thing? If you're the Red Sox, and
Isn't that a good thing? That
flex.
means that you have no threats.
That would be it. For the Red Sox, you could just, for
He
him.
thinks
I see
everyone
what you're
there is
saying.
aging, but that doesn't make any sense either. Jordan's like 26, 27. I mean, they just traded Tucker. I get that being less appealing, but if he does go back there, like, I am super interested in going after Paredes. Now, I've seen people be like, why would they do that? Why the fuck would they put Jose Altuve in left field? That doesn't make any sense. Like, what?
But he sucks at second base now.
Still, like, left field, that seems
You
insane
think
to
he's gonna
me.
be good at left.
He's already friggin' trying it out, though. So at least he's willing to ponder it. He's
And
thinking about
Paredes
it.
sucks everywhere with the glove. Like,
I don't disagree with you there.
He's much worse than a bad Altuve at second. But
I mean,
we're
we're not that far removed from Jose Altuve not being able to throw the ball from second base to first base, and now you're going to put him in left field.
But you're looking at second base. He was friggin' third percentile outs above average at second base last year. He was one of the worst defenders in the entire sport.
Sure. And
How bad can it get in left field?
Isaac Paredes would be much worse at second.
Well, that's where it gets weird. And they've basically said, we're going to put Bregman at third no matter what. I almost think it makes more sense for them to say we're going to put Bregman at second and leave Paredes at third if they were going to try to do it that way.
The Astros are smarter than us. They know Bregman should play third. They've had him there his whole fucking career. Seemed to work out well for him.
But credit to the Astros and credit to Jose Altuve, who goes out and says it. This is what Alex Bregman means in our clubhouse. This is what this guy means as a leader. I think his words to Jim Crane were, the Astros are a better organization since he got here. He brought us to a different level. He leveled us all up. And I think that's what we talk about with the Red Sox a lot of time, that veteran leadership, what they're lacking. You see the Astros and their teammates all stepping up and basically telling, Dana Brown and Jim Crane, like, hey, I know you said that you weren't willing to do this. You didn't want to be over the first CBT threshold. We don't care. We're going to make these statements. And as we've seen with Jim Crane, this dude fucking blinks at anything. You could blow in his face and he'll blink. If you just sit there and want money, he said he was never going to pay Josh Hader a year ago. He did.
Jared?
I'd argue most people would blink if you blew in their face.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of natural reaction.
Yeah.
I think
That's kind of crazy if you don't, honestly.
you got to be tough. You got to be willing
You
to
can
handle
have
the breeze in
super
your
wet
eyes.
eyes if you can handle a blowing like that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the fact
know
that
I
he's
can't.
folded on multiple players. This is just another example. Rafael Montero was another one.
No, he had that job for one day and he gave Rafael Montero like league setting money, which was, I love that. That's how it should be.
Jose
Every team
Abreu.
Listen, that was a good swing. They don't all work, but I don't I'm still shocked they traded Tucker. I still think something was weird with that. But I think they could get the Red Sox, if they added Paredes as their DH, and they were just like, you know what?
What do you mean?
This is what we're going to do.
Weird with Tucker? What do you mean?
That, to Tyler's point, they've never done that with anyone. They let Bregman walk. Like, they'll let guys play it out. And if they had Tucker on that team, they'd be better. It's weird that they shipped him.
It's uncharacteristic.
Yeah, but he's also a guy who had like a weird fracture of his leg last year. Like, that wasn't a standard injury. He came back and raked in September, and then he only played 2 playoff games. So it's not like you could judge his postseason how he was at, but some just doesn't feel correct with them moving him.
It's uncharacteristic.
Super uncharacteristic. That's why it stands out. They don't give a fuck. They let Springer walk. They let Bregman walk up to this point. They have no problem letting guys walk. They just outright released Abreu, didn't they? They were like, we'll eat that money. We don't care.
They had to give up. They sent him like to AAA. Yeah,
that was bad.
But their biggest contract, I think, in franchise history is Altuve's deal. It was the extension, right? And then Hader for a free agent contract.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan, they got signed at a relatively
fire your agent, Jordan. Fire him.
Well, he was one of those like lottery tickets that got traded. You get that kind of money put in front of you, you're gonna sign it.
6 years, 115.
Oh, yeah.
God.
So I mean, you could get Crochet for that around there, honestly.
But the Altuve thing, if he moves to left field, it's more reason for them just to keep Jordan at DH, which they should be doing already. But I think he played almost 50 games in left field last year.
But it was one of the first things, was it Dana Brown, SOGM? It was one of the first things he said this offseason was like, he's going to be our DH. That's done. Which is why I don't understand. If you bring Bregman back, Paredes makes no sense. Like, he's just a bad fielder. It is what it is. But he'd be a tremendous help here at DH. And I think that would also be a way to clear out the outfield because you could send Willier back. And I love Willier, but I think it's a pretty fair deal. If they get Bregman, obviously.
Paredes isn't a free agent until 2028. I would have liked the Red Sox. I know Presley didn't want to go to either coast, but he kind of fit exactly what you needed in the bullpen as well.
I don't think Houston was going to send him here. I think
he wasn't willing to come here.
Even outside of that, I don't think they would have sent him here.
Like, to make you better, they would have been against it.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade with us or the Yankees. Like, they told the Yankees fuck off with Kyle Tucker.
That one feels a little bit more personal, though.
Sure.
Like, we wiped our ass with them in 18, but like the Yankees were crying real tears about 2017. Right. I mean, in theory, the Red Sox couldn't.
Neither could the Yankees, though. They still did.
For different reasons.
Different reasons, but they did. I mean, there was that Joe Torre letter that he wrote clearing them. I'm sure that was on the level.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish we could. Everyone would feel better right now if we could look into next offseason and just see where Vladdy goes. Because they can't come out and say, like, we guarantee, hey, we're not signing Bregman because we can guarantee we're paying Vladdy $420 million. Like, they obviously can't say that now. But if we could look a year from now and be like, yeah, we didn't want to tie up that money because we knew we wanted to do this. If that happens, I think everyone's fine. Most people are fine with not going after Bregman as aggressively. But if they fuck up that too, then it's just like, I don't sell the team. Like, I don't know what else you can do at that point. You can't keep missing.
Hector Gomez had that they were about to make him like the offer he was looking for. Will he accept it? That's a whole nother question, but sounds like they're going to make one last real push during spring training and put a real, whether it's the $450 million he seemingly is looking for or something in that ballpark. It looks like they're going to try and meet it. They don't really have a choice as an organization either at this point. It's just going to come down to whether he gives a fuck to stay or not.
He gave them a deadline, right?
Yeah, it has to be done by opening day.
Oh, I thought it was even I thought it was like February 20th.
Was it before? It could be. Hold on.
I thought he gave them like a spring training deadline to just be like, if it's not done by then, we're either playing it out, you can do whatever.
February 17th.
Yeah.
So they got 2 weeks to make the offer.
I wonder if that's kind of like Alonso's hold-up market, because the Blue Jays will pivot. You would have to think pretty quickly to overpaying for Alonso if they can't get something done. with Vladdy.
What do you think happens? You think they trade Vladdy or you keep both?
I'm not even saying that. I think you could play 1 year with them both. That's what I would do if it's like, all right, listen, we're at least going to run the first half because to Tyler's point, if it doesn't go our way, we can get a haul at the trade. I think they'll get more for him at the trade deadline than a full season because baseball people are stupid like that.
How do you have Vladdy, Alonso, and Santander?
Put Santander on the field?
Oh,
It's not ideal, but you have Alonso because you know you're not keeping Vladdy long term. So that's like maybe a half year problem.
Yeah, Varsho starting the year on the IL.
If you have those three guys in the lineup with Bo and hopefully a bounce back Springer, like you could talk yourself into being one of the better lineups in baseball for at least a year. Why not try it? You're the fucking Blue Jays. All it takes is one.
If they land Alonso, they're in on Scherzer. That's been one of the things out there right now, whether they jump for him and say, fuck it, let's just go for upside. That's on the table. Maybe they say, screw it, and they give Nick Pivetta, 4 years. They say, we gave up a pick for Pete Alonso. Screw it. We're going to do whatever we can to try and compete this year.
I was saving the Nick Pivetta discourse for later in the show. Because trades, free agency, roster cuts, baseball season feels so far away, but excitement is already building. Blue Moon gives you a dose of ballpark nostalgia without even being at the park. In fact, Blue Moon was born in a ballpark at the Sandlot Brewery in Denver, Colorado. Its bold flavor, bright explosion of color, and iconic orange slice ritual guarantees a one-of-a-kind beer experience. Perfect year-round. I actually had some Blue Moons this past weekend. Went out to dinner. It was nice.
Where was that?
It was in Boston.
Was that like a new age type place?
No.
They cook with smoke?
Yeah, it was a Japanese restaurant.
Ah.
We had sushi. We had salmon. We had like 5 courses. It was unbelievable. I had a great time. But I obviously was sipping on some Blue Moons throughout.
That's why you had a great time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was 99.9% of why I had such a good time. Was the Blue Moon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
From its refreshing flavor with Valencia orange peel for a subtle sweetness and hints of coriander, Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind beer that's made brighter. It's carefully crafted and full-flavored with refreshing notes and a smooth, creamy finish. Why strike out with the same old beer when you can get something that is one-of-a-kind, best served with its signature orange garnish to showcase its beautiful hazy color? A beer this good only comes around once in a blue moon, but you can enjoy it all off-season long. Make winter weather feel like spring training. Blue Moon Belgian-style wheat ale is a one-of-a-kind every time. Get Blue Moon delivered by visiting get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared to see your delivery options. That is get.bluemoonbeer.com/Jared. Blue Moon, made brighter. Celebrate responsibly. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado Ale.
Suck one.
You gotta suck. Are we talking Nick Pivetta right now?
I was going to say, well, we only got to one of Tyler's headlines.
No.
That and Campbell were essentially 2. I'll count both of
Okay.
those.
All right. Was Pivetta a headline? I'm sure it was.
Yeah, that and the reliever market, I think, go kind of hand in hand right now because that seems to be how people are trying to frame it.
It says couple of reports from John Morosi this morning. Take them for what you will because they seem pretty speculative. On Pivetta, quote, there are those in the industry who believe the best fit for him right now is going back to Boston. It's not. It's not the best fit.
Well,
to do
your whole argument is, well,
what?
They don't have to give a pick for him. Like, all right, well, yeah, that is the situation, but the only room for him is in the bullpen.
Right, and he doesn't want to do that.
Why
would he ever? First of all, the Red Sox don't give multi-year offers to human beings. So he's not going to take a 1-year deal to come back. If you're Nick Pivetta, he
might.
You wait out the deadline to lose the draft pick compensation tagged to you so that you don't have to take a 1-year offer to come back to Boston.
I'd be worried for his case because his elbow barked last year early in the season. Say what you will. That was the first time his elbow's ever barked too. But unless he looks at it, he's like, well, I already have a house here. My family's here. I guess I could play.
Does he have a house here?
Yeah, I think he was living in Newton, right?
Did he rent though? There's no way he
could be
lived here.
Well, he's been here for 5 years now.
Don't want to dox the guy.
Yeah. I don't know.
But
I think
he had said him and his family had grown to really love the city of Boston. That was at the last press conference he did before he left.
That's really nice. I hope he signs somewhere else.
Of course.
I just don't like it. I've been worried he's just going to go to the deadline and sign somewhere because I've never understood why you saw Nick Martinez immediately accept his. I thought Pivetta was going to do that. I don't know why he didn't.
Same.
Because what would that?
By the way,
we just wouldn't have signed Buehler.
People
That's
were
all
saying
that would have
that
changed.
It was so obvious the Red Sox should have offered it up to him. I'm just saying. And now he's sitting out here with nothing.
Yeah, like I remember the conversation was when the Red Sox made him the qualifying offer. I was like, fuck, why would you do that? He's going to take it. And then he didn't take it. And the conversation was, you fucking idiots really thought he was going to take it? Like, of course he wasn't going to take it. And now no one has signed him because he has the pick attached to him.
No one's been connected to the guy. No one's even talking to him.
I remember when I said this last night. When I was on Winnie the Pooh, there was a report that the Reds were interested in Nick Pivetta. That was the first week of December. We're almost in February, brother.
There was a slight one with the Orioles and the Blue Jays. That's it. Orioles are done. They're not paying him.
No, they got Chucky Morton.
Enjoy Sagano. The Blue Jays, maybe.
The Blue Jays literally were only linked to him because they were like, well, Canada, he's Canadian. But we already did the math. Like he's from like the Vancouver area.
Yeah,
Also,
from like LA.
Yeah, that's like being like, oh, like Jared's American. Like he'll sign with the Mariners to go home to America. Nope.
Pivetta in Cincinnati might have a 6 ERA. That would be the worst ballpark a guy like him could ever pitch in. Homer heaven, that guy? No way in hell.
He's gonna end up being like the Honeywell for the Dodgers. That's how it's gonna end.
He has to wait for someone's elbow to explode during spring training. That's what it is.
Even
hope.
then, I think plenty of teams will just be like, we'll go with this AAA guy. Like we'd rather do that.
You need a team who's a contender who's just like, fuck. Like we do not have any other solution. And that's your only hope.
Like,
otherwise, it's waiting it out.
What team, if they have a starter go down, is going to be like, let's give $20+ million to Nick Pivetta? That's the solution, fellas.
And the pick, man. It's so brutal.
You want to talk about firing agents? Fire your agent, Nick Pivetta. You could be sitting pretty, 1-year deal, $20-something million, just sitting in the bank waiting to be spent.
He declined it, and people were like, he's got multiple 3 for 75s out there. And I was like, no, he does not.
He could be Zach Wheeler. You remember when Zach Wheeler hit free agency? He's like, guys, please.
Teams love the peripherals. It's just like, to a point, I'm sure.
Wasn't that a report today? It was like, he could go back to the Red Sox because it's reported that they like his stuff a lot.
Yeah, that was from Fenway Rundown.
He's been here for 5 years. It's like, oh, they really like his stuff. Okay. He's been here for the last 6 years.
Yeah. No one's more familiar with his stuff.
Yeah. What are we doing?
Crazy.
I'm not even going to put it out into the universe. I don't think he's coming back here.
No.
So you both think he'd sit out before signing a 1 year, just get by deal here?
Yeah. Because he doesn't want to pitch out of the bullpen.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I'm not at all. You would just have to hope it's him and he can't sit out. That's it. He's not. You've
got Lucas Giolito saying publicly, I might be in a position where I have to compete for a rotation spot because of the guys that we got over here. I respect it. I appreciate it. You being like, oh, I'll fight for a spot if I have to. He has a spot for what he's getting paid, for what he's done in the big leagues. You have your spot. But if you have someone like Giolito saying, I have to compete for a spot, where does that put Pivetta in this rotation? Like who do you put Pivetta above for the guys that are slotted to pitch in this rotation this year?
I think you can make him and Giolito are the same tier to me. They're the exact same tier.
Respectfully, Buehler is too.
I think Buehler has a higher ceiling than those two, but yeah, right now, if you look at what he's been last year, and I think then you still have the Cutter Crawford situation as well.
I actually think Giolito has the highest ceiling out of the 3.
Higher than Buehler.
Yeah, like he's just hit it way more recently. Like Bueller's ceiling. I know he was awesome in the World Series. I'm not taking that away from him. But for regular season, it's different. Giolito's hit his ceiling more recently than Bueller's. I don't think he's necessarily capable of that. Not saying he's a bad pitcher or a bad acquisition, but I do think Giolito has the highest ceiling of the three.
Well,
I'm
last time
excited to see
Giolito was
Giolito pitch. Like every now and then, I have to remind myself that he's on the Red Sox.
It is shocking, but they all to me they're all the same guy. They're literally all the same guy to me. That's
look
why
at
signing
Giolito-
Buehler for the exact same amount of money they would have given Pivetta was like, yeah, that's fine.
Last time Giolito had an ERA below 4.88 was 2021, 3.53. Buehler was at least an average pitcher in 2022.
His numbers before he got traded like 30 times.
I've made the
2
case.
years ago.
I've made the
What
case.
was-
before
What was
the
his
divorce.
ERA before the 30 trades that year? It was like it was in the 3 something.
Yeah, it was like 3.6. The FIP was like 4.11, if I
I
remember
don't
off
care
the
about
top
the
of
FIP.
my head.
He didn't
Okay.
ask for the FIP.
I'm sorry.
ask for
Gotta
the
give
ERA.
it. It's in my
No one
brain.
asked for the FIP.
Didn't ask for it. Didn't want it actually. Didn't want to hear about it.
Yeah, you notice when he went to shit on Giolito, he went to ERA, a thing he never uses.
Listen, you want to do FIP for that season? Yeah.
No, I'm sure it's much worse. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
with the homers.
Yeah. T, I'm going to be honest. I have zero interest in the entire second page of these notes.
Yeah.
The second page is always brutal.
Yeah, it's rough. You got Abraham Toro leading. Like the fact that Abraham
I
Toro
like
is
that
at the
move.
top of the page and not the
No,
bottom.
no,
is
you
crazy.
don't. Fuck you, dude.
I like that as a depth sign.
No, you don't.
Abraham
I do.
Toro, Robert Stock, and Sean Newcomb, who local kid. He's a Brockton guy. Yeah,
Kinda. He was born here. I just want to know what hospital, but he went to Middleborough High.
we can get him on. We follow each other on Instagram. His dad used to tweet me all the time.
In a good way?
Yeah.
I was born at Brockton Hospital. I know a lot of people who were born at Good Samaritan, and those
Shout
people are
out
a
the
little bit
doctor
different.
T.
Who birthed me or brought me into
Yeah.
this world.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know much about them. Many people would be upset with them, but I am a Brockton Hospital kid. I know the hospital almost burnt down a few years ago, but we stand strong in Brockton. That hospital has been rebuilt
Well, you abandoned Brockton, so I
So
don't
it
know
did
that you
burn
can say
down.
we anymore.
a little bit. Listen,
Oh.
I still visit Brockton. I still own property in Brockton, actually. We're
No,
being
you
honest
don't.
here.
No, you definitely don't.
Actually, my mom does. You're right.
Right. There we go.
Thank you. Sorry.
I own property. Jared,
Holy.
how come no one's ever really tried replicating what the Astros did with Roger Clemens, having him only pitch home games once he got old enough? And why is no one pitching
That was the
to Max
Yankees.
Scherzer right now? It was the
That-
Yankees. You're right. My apologies. I thought he did with the Astros too.
No, he did that for the Yankees in 07. But when he was with the Astros before that, he was
Right.
42 years old, 43 years old, and he threw like 225 innings and had like
No,
a
he was a
sub 2
horse.
ERA and
He was an
was
absolute horse.
runner up for the Cy Young.
Yeah, probably should have won.
Yeah. He should have 8.
But why is no one pitching that with Scherzer? Like, hey, you will pitch the first game of like every homestand. You will never come on the road. Like we're not going 6-man rotation, but just every time we come home, everyone else gets a day, and it's Scherzer day. You give him
Because
like 12 starts.
when Clemens was doing that, he was still really good, and Scherzer's not.
I think he would if he got 12 starts and didn't have to travel. Like I don't think he's Roger Clemens, obviously, but I think if you were just throwing Max Scherzer once every 17 days, that would be a horrifying thing other teams had to deal with.
He might. Yeah, it might actually work.
I don't know that he would want to do that. He's such a routine freak. He
Body
wants to throw
also-
the ball every 5 days until the wheels fall off.
They're starting to come off.
They're
I would tell.
Oh, you can basically see what's under the wheels right now.
That's what I mean. So it's like, hey, let's try and get just some of the wheels rolling here. And this is the plan. I'm not saying I want the Red Sox to do this necessarily. We have other issues.
What
But
did
I am interested. No one's thought about it.
what did Verlander get? 18?
I can't remember.
Because now you're in the territory of just, knowing the MO of the
15.
15. Okay. So what does Scherzer get? 12?
Maybe
Yeah.
just 110.
Like right in that. It depends though. Morosi had it that he would consider closing. That he was open to
That's
that
so
if he
sick.
can find a starting job. But it doesn't make sense with him and Verlander competing for, strikeouts and them kind of going back and forth. you go into a closer role, you're basically tipping your cap that Verlander's going to finish with more strikeouts than you, and his legacy continues to climb.
I don't think either of them care too much about, like, they both have pretty ironclad legacies.
They are very competitive.
No, I know they care. I'm not denying that, but I think they both have pretty ironclad legacies at this point.
Yeah, but they definitely care about who finishes where with all that shit. Because what else are you competing for at this point? They both have rings.
What's the difference in strikeouts right now?
Not much.
Hold on. Verlander's at 3,400. Scherzer's sitting at 3,400. 3,407 for Scherzer. 3,416 for Verlander.
Yeah. So they are absolutely motivated by that.
Sure. I mean, Verlander just missed his season, so that could happen again. He's not like young, you know what I mean? So the closer role, you could pass him that way.
I think the fact that the Red Sox were there, and I don't want to put too much into it because it was a full showcase. It wasn't just for him. It was Cressy Sports and Tanner Houck's working out over there. They got Corey Kluber, who had been doing things over there a few years back.
Red Sox opening day starter.
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't know. If Scherzer would like to close, sure, why not? I just don't see that happening here. But it'd be fun.
I would feel much better about the bullpen if we signed Max Scherzer to close.
Oh.
I'm not even joking.
He'd be a madman.
Not even joking a little bit.
That's where we're at.
The bullpen is worse than it was last year. Correct. Like fact.
That is also a very interesting conversation piece is where the fuck is Kenley? Is Kenley, does he want to play this year?
Bro, he has
He's
to be
pitching
so
every
mad at
day.
the Dodgers. He has to be so mad they signed Kirby Yates. What a fuck you that is. He sat there and showed up to their fucking playoff run and they said, 1 year deal? Kirby Yates, come the fuck down. Kenley Jansen, sit the fuck out there.
Kenley Jansen was begging to pitch for the Dodgers while he was still on the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
1 year, $13 million to Kirby Yates, who's relatively the same age, right?
Yeah, a couple years older than Kenley Jansen. Kenley Jansen's going to be 36 this season?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Kenley at all. I haven't heard anyone linked to him. I don't even know if he intends to still pitch.
He's posting pictures every day of him pitching.
A lot of pictures.
Every single day. His Instagram is just him chucking it.
Why do you think he doesn't have a job right now?
I think the Dodgers specifically don't want to have a closer, and I don't think they could re-sign him and be like, "Hey, you get the seventh." Sometimes I just don't think that would work. I don't think a lot of teams really want a closer anymore.
It's also like, where does he come in like on their rankings at this point in time, right? Like Tanner Scott's better than him. Kirby Yates is better than him. I think it's a conversation whether he's even the third best reliever in that bullpen with Blake Trinan and Evan Phillips out there.
I think he's better than Trinan, but I understand why people would pick Trinan.
But like, that's where you kind of are with a guy like that. And I do think how things ended here at the end of the year are going to stick out for some people a little bit in that. But Kenley Jansen, his second season here was better than his first season. Mm-hmm. If he wasn't Kenley Jansen, if none of this shit happened, he'd be a perfect fit here.
He's still a perfect fit here. The fellas love Kenley.
The clubhouse don't.
Who? Those are the fellas.
Last time we heard, the clubhouse was not happy with how things ended.
Well, what's great about Kenley is he doesn't know who any of those people are.
He doesn't give a fuck.
So it's a fresh slate for him. They got to get over it.
Yeah. He could easily come back.
He's also
and be
your
like,
closer.
Hey guys,
He doesn't.
I'm Kenley.
He doesn't. Yeah, him walking up to Devers. He's like, "Nice to meet you." Does your closer have to be friends with your second baseman? Genuine question. I don't know that it matters.
Well, when the Red Sox were busy winning World Series titles, our closer was very close with our second baseman.
Well, that's because our second baseman was our pitching close.
Hated our right fielder. Yeah. Yeah. Hated the right fielder. Loved the second baseman. Yeah. That was tough to hear because I love JD Drew, but that was real tough.
You got anything on David Robertson, Jared?
No.
I'd
like that.
It was fucking stupid they didn't sign him when he was dominant for Team USA. He was just available.
He's sitting out here. I think he's going to be 40 years old this upcoming season.
Is he still his own agent?
Yes, he is.
He is?
Uh-huh.
The only other guy I knew that did that was Schilling.
There was an outfielder who did it a couple of years ago, wasn't there?
It pops up from time to time, typically in other sports, but
yeah, dude, David Robertson last season, 3 ERA, 265 FIP. He struck out 12K per nine. Dude was missing bats. It's good chase. For 1 year, call it 10 million, 11, 12 million. Why not?
I feel like we've been so hyper focused on Bregman that we haven't really acknowledged the fact that like the Red Sox don't have a closer. Like they have Liam Hendricks, who I love, but he hasn't played baseball since the 1970s.
The first thing they did
was
sign Aroldis Chapman. They set the market with it. That was the first thing they did.
And they didn't care enough to make an offer for Tommy Kenley today, who they've been in on for, 3 years in a row at this point. Carl Sestevez is off the market now, too, which I'm good. I didn't want him.
Kenley's kind of like a career Yankee, even when he doesn't pitch for the Yankees. I understand why he doesn't want to come here. I respect it.
But he fit in as that like typical seventh inning arm that, hey, go in there and
I
you got
don't
really
disagree.
good stuff.
He's a Yankee. He doesn't want to come here. I respect it.
Who do you think is going to have more saves in 2025? Liam Hendricks or Aroldis Chapman?
Can I go with a different answer?
No, I asked you who between those fucking two people will have more saves.
Liam
They'll
Hendricks.
they'll both register saves. That's
Agreed.
a fact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Chapman.
Wow.
You
guys think Hendricks is going to be cooked when he shows up to camp? Like it's going to be like 94?
I do.
I don't think it's crazy to say that.
I think that's going to be a storyline. I think that we're going to be on velocity watch during spring training with Hendricks because I think it's going to be brought to the forefront. Oh, fuck, we don't have a closer. We were so focused on getting a starting pitcher and caught up in the Bregman sweepstakes that we just, we're complaining, we're pissing and moaning all winter for different reasons. We wanted an ace, and then the complaining worked, and then we wanted a right-handed bat. I guess we have Randall Grichuk. That's going to have to work for now. Oh, fuck, we need a closer. And yeah, okay. If you had told me 5 years ago that the Red Sox had Aroldis Chapman and Liam Hendricks, I'd be like, holy shit, like, let's go. But now it's like, don't know. I mean, I still think Chapman can be good. I'm very confused on how I'm going to operate this situation. Like, I think I've probably I've probably said more derogatory things about Chapman at this point than Pablo Sandoval, because Sandoval has been irrelevant for so long and Chapman's been at I guess active longer.
He was in a World Series 2 years ago. We won.
Yeah, like I guess it's just I don't know, man. Like the Marcell Ozuna thing, I remember when he made it to the home run derby and we were like, I don't know, like that's going to be weird because it's just going to bring it up again. But it's like, oh, well, his teammates love him and all is forgiven and, everyone deserves a second chance. And with Chapman, I'm just like, I just can't look past it. Just, you can tell me that the Red Sox did their legwork. It's like, oh yeah, we talked to his former teammates and coaches and they all vouched for his character. And it's like, okay, but I don't know. Like, that doesn't mean you're a good guy. I don't know how to feel about it.
No, never will get to a good guy territory. But I do know last year when he signed with the Pirates, they asked him about it and he spoke about it at length. He didn't give a blanket answer like I've changed. He spoke about it at length. So I assume that will happen again here. If not, that's like a huge strike for the reporters. But I almost guarantee he'll be asked about it immediately, and we'll see how he handles it.
They asked Verdugo when he showed up about his thing.
True, they did, and there was way less proven about that than anything with this.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get into spring training for a team that does not have a lot of, faces that kind of gravitate towards fans and national media. Liam Hendricks is going to be everywhere. I think they're going to have him doing every single interview because he is straight happiness. He is straight positivity, just like they did at the Fan Fest. But Hendricks did say for every offseason throughout his career where he's at right now, his numbers are the same, if not better. Like, spin rate, all these different things than they have been in years past. What that will mean when you get to spring training, you're not going to even see the velocity. I think spring training for closers doesn't tell you shit for velocity. Most of these guys, they don't actually start hitting, their actual stuff till it's a closing situation in the regular season. So yeah, if he's sitting 93, 94, like, you're going to just hope the adrenaline kicks in when opening day rolls around. But I think the Red Sox, they're going to push Justin Slayton into that role. If there's any question, he will have that role by the middle of the year.
See, I think Guerrero's most built for it.
I don't disagree with you, but I think they have Slayton at a higher ceiling in the bullpen than they do Luis Guerrero. I think they look at Slayton
and I think that's
he has
deserved.
Closer potential.
I don't think they don't look at Guerrero that way. Whether or not they rank them is a different thing, but I do think they view Guerrero as someone who could close.
I don't know. I don't think they view him. I think they look at him as like a seventh inning arm, right around in that ballpark. Not saying that he could never get up to that spot, but until he has his feet underneath him at the big league level.
Sure,
like
I'm not saying
even with
start
Slayton.
the year that way. Yeah, I'm not saying
maybe
start
a
the
year or two down the road, if it all clicks. And he looks
I think
like
it could
that
happen
guy.
this year. I absolutely think it could happen this year. If he's gonna be out there, like I'm not even saying don't try Slayton, obviously, but how many guys got in and out of stats as one save club last year because they got multiple?
Yeah, in a pinch, I could see, you're out of arms or whatever it may be, but like you're going to have to go through Hendricks. Chapman would get a shot before Guerrero, I'm assuming. Slayton.
Sure.
I would argue probably not with Whitlock. I think they really
I
like
think
him
that's
in
the
that
list.
Yeah, I think they like Whitlock in a Swiss Army knife role. So I think those would be the guys. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Zach Kelly. I'm going to throw Zach Kelly in there. If Zach Kelly's stuff clicks, they were fucking talking about him nonstop at the end of the year presser at FanFest. They are obsessed with his stuff. I think if he can click and his engine is built up, as they say, for this year, he's another guy who could jump up that ranking list very quickly because they were willing to ride him until he was broken.
He was giving up some dick balls last year.
But what happened before? They put him in that
broken.
spot. They were willing to elevate him up to late, high leverage innings. That's how much they believed in his stuff.
But they didn't do no. That wasn't what happened. They ran out of other options is what happened, and they were forced to do that. They didn't believe in him.
I think he was forced to stay out there as injuries happened once he started getting lit up. But when he had that moment at Yankee Stadium, he was used in high leverage after that. And he succeeded for a bit.
He succeeded before he got moved to high leverage, from what I remember. And then he got moved to high leverage, and then Judge put one 479,000 feet into center field.
Yeah,
they
and I remember
off the
feeling
rails.
like it was very predictable that happened.
Yes, he went off the rails last season, and they put the blame on him tiring and not having been built up after the elbow issue the year before.
That's fair. I'm willing to. I mean, I like Zach Kelly. I hope he does really well. if we're talking closer options, if we've gotten down to that part of the depth chart, then we're fucked.
It's never been.
And I think he would tell you that, like he would, if he were being candid and he said, if they're considering me for closer, we are fucked. Like that means that Chapman's down, Hendricks is down, Slayton's down, even Whitlock's down. Yeah.
I think Guerrero too.
Yeah.
Like I think Kelly, I like Kelly. I'm not out on him.
No, me neither.
I do like him as like a 6th, 7th guy.
Sure.
Get the occasional 8th when everyone else is gassed, but no more than that.
Oh, he's a perfect Scott Williamson type.
Oh, yeah. I think Zach Kelly could be like a cult hero for a lot of the fan base, but I don't need
the people's
him.
reliever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. Alex Cora. This was at the end of the year. With that stuff, we expect more. We want him to be like a big dog in the bullpen. That's the reason he pitched the 9th, because stuff-wise, there's not too many guys like him. But we got to be consistent. That's the most important thing. And there's a few things he needs to work on to accomplish that. That's what I'm saying. He goes through the offseason and he comes out firing in camp. He will be an arm that climbs up quickly for them.
Okay.
It's just weird to hear them emphasize someone's stuff. Think about some of the guys that have been in that spot as Kelly, kind of the last guy in the bullpen who melted down. You never heard them talk about Josh Winkowski like that. It takes a certain level of stuff for them to get that
Winkowski can't throw 99.
But to be fair, Winkowski was hitting 98 and 23.
Yeah, Yeah, he was throwing turbo sinkers to start 23. Yeah. I don't know where he factors into all this either.
He does.
AAA.
He's him and like Weissert are in the same bucket.
They're fucked.
And fucking Campbell.
Yes. Whitlock fucks Josh Winkowski. Josh Winkowski would be a poor man's Garrett Whitlock.
Whitlock's got a lot to prove. Steve.
He does.
Like it's been a while, and it's not his fault. None of it's his fault. It's the Red Sox fault. They had a perfect guy, and they fucked him up. It's been a long time. I know Tyler's going to point out some starts. He looked really good. I agree, he did, but you can't point to like one
he's
start
got a
every
date range from 2023
months.
that he's dying to tell you about.
Right, which
4 starts last year was sub 2 ERA, baby.
That's what the whole fucking rotation was. Like that, the whole rotation, the Andrew Bailey Kool-Aid was never a brighter red than it was last first month of the season when everyone was an ace for the whole month of April. And then everyone died after that. So that was a tough scene.
Whitlock's not even the same pitcher he was when you go back to 2021 at this point, though. Like,
no,
he added the gyro slider last year and was working with the starter arsenal. So, like, what is his new combination going to be? How is he going to attack hitters? Depends if it's going to be multi-inning all the time. Is it going to be an inning and a pinch? I think for him, the best way to use Garrett Whitlock, if you're the Boston Red Sox, is there should be days he pitches the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, and you give everyone a day off in the bullpen. I am into the idea of pairing him with a starter like they had done going back to 2022.
That's the same thing as him being a starter, though. You're just doing it in reverse. He's going to get hurt again that way.
I'm not giving him 5 innings. He's not throwing 5, 6. It's 3 innings. That's the best version
of
Garrett Whitlock.
It's the same ramp up. It's the same like inactivity in between starts or in between appearances.
If he's throwing 3 innings, I'm not expecting him to get 5 days of rest. If they go back to the way they did it in 2021, it was a day of rest for every inning thrown. So sure, I'm not saying do that all the time, but to reset your bullpen in the middle of the summer or towards the end of the year, I think that's where he's his best. People want to talk about the Garrett Whitlock in 2021. He wasn't a 1-inning guy till the very end of the season. That's when he became a 1-inning guy. The Garrett Whitlock everyone fell in love with and remembers was throwing 2 to 3 innings regularly.
I remember him appearing in 2 innings, but it would be like 1 2/3, 1 1/3.
One of his best outings ever in 2022 was when the 4 innings in Detroit, when he came out of the bullpen and was just mauling people down.
Yeah, I'm not denying he did do it, but we have a lot of different evidence since then that says that's probably not the best idea. I'm not saying never push him 2 innings, but I do feel like his best, he needs to be Chris Martin on this team. Like him, so if you have him, Slayton, in whatever order you want, 7th, 8th, and then give it to whoever the fuck in the 9th, I think that's your best path right now, and it stinks. Like that should be addressed big time.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to use him in that way. It seems like they want to use him in the 2021 way, which I think is, somewhere between, call it 5 outs to 9 outs, like something in that ballpark, depending on the situation. That's why they should go sign another arm. Don't put that on him.
Should 1,000%. But there aren't even that, like the Suarez thing makes sense. If there's any, if that's real at all, makes a lot of sense. I think that stabilizes a lot. I don't think it lets them off the hook for not doing more sooner, but I think that would be a nice ad at this point of the offseason.
Hell of an ad.
Big time ad.
Huge.
Mm-hmm.
You know what would be a hell of an ad for T?
What?
Some more hair.
Dick.
Wow.
If you've lost your hair, it doesn't mean that you can't find it again. Try Hims Hair Loss Solutions, and you'll be joining hundreds of thousands of subscribers who found their hair again. Hims provides you with convenient and quality access to a range of hair loss treatments that work, all from the comfort of your couch. Hims makes treating hair loss simple with doctor-trusted options and clinically proven ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil that regrow your hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. Choose from personalized chewable oral spray and serum treatments to find what works best for you. The process is simple and 100% online, so there are no uncomfortable doctor visits. Answer a few questions, and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to you for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. Hims has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, and they help you get your confidence back too with visibly thicker and fuller hair. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/section10. That's HIMS.com/section10 for your personalized hair loss treatment options. hims.com/section10. Anything else?
Besides spring training invites, not really.
I mean, we did pretty good for literally nothing happening.
Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
I saw people saying that if we did like a lot of Bregman talk, like the entire episode, they were going to be pissed at us. So they got what they wanted.
No reason to talk about people who don't play and never will play for the Red Sox.
Yeah. That conversation's beat to death. There's nothing really new on it. There might be people reporting on it, but is the information really new? Not really to us.
Heyman flipped completely from his report where you clowned him a week ago. He said that the Red Sox were the most likely. Today on his stream, he goes, Astros. Astros feel like the most likely landing spot. I'm just,
he's
how
such
predictable
a
can you be, man?
Dildo, that guy. He really is. All right. I mean, we're making good time. If we can get out of here by fucking before midnight, that'd be a miracle. That never.
It's gonna be our shortest night in a long time.
I mean, we still did an hour and a half with nothing happening. So
we did 5 hours last week combined.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Pods.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I didn't care for that.
Yeah.
Did either of you get pissed when you saw? Not even pissed isn't even the right word. I was annoyed when I saw that Ha-Seong Kim signed with the Rays. I don't know if you guys even cared at all.
It didn't evoke much emotion from me. I looked at it and was like, that felt manageable. But I looked at it as, is that I'm intangible shopping, Coley. Like I think like what Bregman brings to the table, in addition to being able to play baseball on a high level, not something that Ha-Seong Kim is also bringing.
No, I get you.
I love
like
the player.
Campbell, I would venture to guess that the output you get from Christian Campbell is equal to or greater than what Ha-Seong Kim is going to give the Tampa Bay Rays from strictly a statistical perspective. And then, the intangible part of what Bregman brings would be why I would lean Bregman. But
it's more like we know, even if we think we have an answer at second, we don't necessarily have one for the other middle infield spot. Yeah. And considering Kim's not even going to be playing until like late May, it may have worked out pretty perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it either would have worked out perfectly or you would have been in an uncomfortable spot, because if you did get to May or June when he is supposed to return from his shoulder injury and Trevor Story's still playing, it's like, all right, what do we do with this guy? Because say what you will for a right-handed bat, I think defensively what he does, dude, he was almost a 6-win player in 2023. Almost a 5-win player in 2022. Those are better than the marks Alex Bregman posted. That's how good his defense is. But last year was a 96 OPS plus with the bat. I'm looking for right-handed thumb. And I think he'd be a better at Fenway. I think the power, maybe you get closer to 15 homers. But it just, I don't know. It didn't feel like a perfect fit at this time.
Yeah.
No, it's obviously not a perfect fit.
Good money, though.
Alex
Good deal.
Bregman to play fucking second base. They haven't chased a perfect fit once this offseason.
I think he just fits a little bit better, in my opinion.
No, because you can't put him at shortstop ever.
Yeah, I think in that case you can't put him at shortstop, but I think the idea that you can move him to third base in a year, get rid of Yoshida and move Devers to DH, I did like that pathway quite a bit.
You could move Kim to third.
You could. I feel like that's a waste of what he gives defensively, though, in my opinion.
No doubt, but you would have options. It's like you'd have more versatility.
You definitely have options, and I think that's where the Rays are with their infield and what they have, at AAA in terms of their shortstop of the future. But yeah, I don't know. It just didn't seem like exactly what the Red Sox needed right now. Past couple years, I would have been all in, especially the Trevor Story out when he blew out his elbow. Please, I wanted that more than anything.
Sure. Who feels more secure in their shortstop of the future right now, the Rays or the Red Sox?
When you say shortstop of the future, what are you referencing?
I mean, what do you mean?
Like, are you hoping Wander Franco? Like, is that what you're hoping for here? Is
Why?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where you're at. I didn't know if you were like, hey, like what's going to happen with him?
Why would I be asking about Wander Franco?
I don't know. I'm
His
asking
future is not. It's in the penitentiary, not the.
I don't
baseball
disagree
diamond.
with you. But I don't like Carson Williams is apparently their guy. I know he's not going to be ready, at least according to what
Doesn't
Rays
Kevin
fans
play
say, probably
short
till
too?
next year.
Or are they
He's
moving
gonna
him
play
to
third
second?
for them.
Third, okay.
Yeah. Yandy at first, Brandon Lau at second. But Carson Williams is supposed to be their guy, but he needs a lot of time in AAA.
So does our guy.
Yeah, Marcelo Meyer. But I think that's another thing here. I think by the middle of the year, there's a fair chance they're saying Marcelo Meyer, if Trevor Story goes down, we're giving you shortstop.
The conversations I read, both private and public, are they both going to go down the same day?
In terms of injuries, that's a fair question. Yeah, they're both injury-prone guys. But at this point, with the Red Sox and the fact they didn't move him this offseason, they basically said, we believe he's part of this future, so this is a bet you're making.
I don't know if that's what they said. Because they tried to move Tristan Casas, so we know that's not how they feel about him.
But we heard they took Meyer off the table when they were talking Garrett Crochet.
Yeah, they didn't have to put him on the table. No one was topping everything else they were putting on the table.
They could have picked him or Teal. Which one do you want?
I think that's
and you could have probably saved. You might have been able to save Braden Montgomery.
Yeah, I think they were obviously a tier below him, even without that.
Yeah, but I think that's the conversation here. They were more willing to give up a Teal and a Montgomery than move a Meyer in that situation. You had options. You still need a catcher of the future right now. It's one of my issues still with the offseason. The fact that you could have signed, whether it's Carson Kelly, Travis d'Arnaud, whoever, you should have signed a backup catcher, especially if you knew you were going to move Kyle Teal in a trade.
What do they have to do with catcher of the future? They're both like 38 years old.
No, but you need a dependable solution back there for a guy with Connor Wong that was one of the worst defenders in the entire sport last year. At least that gives you some stability. If Carlos Narvaez blows and offers you nothing, it's a pretty, big hole that you have at catcher with a guy in Connor Wong who, what does he look like in the second half? Is he going to be killing the pitching staff once again and called out on the Nesson broadcast on a nightly basis?
How hard do you think Carlos Narvaez blows?
I think he's going to be good. Christian Vasquez vibes. I'm a believer.
Why do you think that?
I think extremely strong defensive profile and seemingly offensively did not
Based
look like a
on what?
disaster. The scouting reports and Aaron Boone,
Oh,
they
sorry.
all have talked about how good he is.
He threw out a
defensively.
shit ton of people in AAA.
Okay.
That's the one thing anyone will say. You bring up Carlos Narvaez, he can play defense.
Okay.
And
I mean,
he
that's
wasn't
really all I
pathetic.
care about. I don't care if my catchers hit.
And he hits
No.
lefties well.
I
Yeah,
want.
which is
I don't,
an issue
I don't
with
care
the
if they can
lineup.
hit. I want my
Streaky
pitching
bat.
staff to love working with the guy. That's it.
Big time.
Like I
He
remember
can do
when
that.
there were certain Red Sox pitchers that were like, I am quitting the team if I have to throw to Blake Swihart one more time. Like I quit
But-
the team.
You go back to when Narvaez got called up this past season, Boone took time in his presser, like 2 minutes. This is how good this guy is defensively. This is how much we believe in him. And the guy they hired to be their catching instructor, Parker Gwynn, comes from the Yankees organization. He was working in the lower minors there. I think he's going to be a big part of them, not only trying to get Connor Wong back on track, but also getting Carlos Narvaez up to speed at the big league level. They needed a new catching instructor because whatever the fuck they've been teaching the last couple of years blows and it sucks.
It blows
What I love
and
about-
it sucks.
What I love about T is the second the Red Sox acquire anyone, they're geniuses. They're the best player in the world.
Definitely.
After he's seen him for a year, they're the worst piece of shit he's ever come across. And he wants them dead. And he wants the people responsible for birthing him dead.
Yeah. Like I didn't think we were going to get a shout out to a catching instructor on today's podcast, but here we
Sox Prospects has talked very heavily about what they think he could do.
are. Okay.
I buy in.
If I brought up
Sox
Sable
prospects,
instead
word is
of
gospel to me.
if I brought up Sable, you would have been like, no, he's better. Like it
He's
didn't matter who
bad
I brought up.
defensively. I'm worried about him blocking. He has that Connor Wong disease.
I'm worried about why he was acquired. He was a catcher that the best catcher of his generation couldn't wait to get rid of. Like that's a bad sign. It's a horrible
Yeah.
sign.
I think he's just your typical quadruple A catcher. But personally, I'd prefer a guy. I don't care if he can put up a competent at bat at the big league level. Be good with the pitching staff.
You have any final thoughts today, Tyler? I feel like you got all the bottom
Can
of
I
the
go to
barrel
Coley first?
news items. Huh?
Can you go to Coley first?
Coley, do you have any final thoughts here this evening?
Yeah, Junior Camaro's fucking sick. Every home run should take 15 minutes. The whole dugout, it should be like the Little League World. For some reason, the Little League World Series, you get to celebrate every home run. And the Winter League ball in Central and South America,
Nowhere
you get to throw goddamn a fiesta every time there's a home run hit. Now, granted, that home run was sick and it was cranked.
And it was
that bat flip, top of the ninth, which was even better. But I mean, when Acuna won the home run derby back in Venezuela, he said that was better than anything he had ever experienced in MLB. He was like, that meant more to me. Seeing Caminero throw, you see how high his fucking bat went?
Yeah. It was like above like the protective screen behind home plate.
That could have killed a man easily. That's like a 2-pound bat. Just chucked it. That's unbelievable. Like people in my mentions were like, he would get drilled here. Like they were saying that like he should get drilled. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Pitcher stands up there. He just waits. He's like, hey, you fucking cranked it, dude. Go for it.
Yeah. Take longer. Yeah. Where's the confetti?
He stopped at every base, said a prayer, got up, had a new jig for every. Got to third. Like he launched his helmet too. His helmet went so far before he stepped on home. And then they just next batter up.
It's like, all right, play ball.
The problem, as much as I like to blame baseball for a lot of baseball's problems, which they're complicit, fans are a lot of the problem too. There's a lot of fan policing that goes on. You can't do this, can't do that. You look at games in Japan, those are electric. You look at games in Korea, those are electric. You look at all of these games going on in the winter, they're fucking electric. We're the only ones who suck at this.
Yeah. I mean, it's changing a little bit, but we're not quite there yet. No.
We're 1% of the way.
Yeah. We'll never
even the way they were chanting and blowing the vuvuzelas and everything right before the at-bat, the second the pitch comes, there's just a little odd hush. And then the home run hits and it's an eruption. You get the eruption here for sure, but there's nothing else happening. We're trying to speed the game up because people are so fucking bored by it. It's such a cool game. What's wrong with everyone?
Preaching to the choir, brother. Tyler, did you find some dumb final thought?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how I wanted to do the different prospect lists that have dropped the last couple days. We had Kylie today, Keith Law a couple days before that, and then MLB
Kylie
Pipeline.
had Marcel Meyer above Christian Campbell, yeah?
Yep, number 4 prospect in the entire game. That is
Meyer is number 4 in baseball.
Yes, and this was after
Campbell
Keith
was
Law.
what, 26?
Yep. That's crazy. That's pretty wild.
Disrespectful.
Based on where the reports are.
That's disrespectful.
I don't know if it's him just trying to do something different. I feel like when it comes to a lot of these lists, they're so close that you find people that are like, I want mine to jump out. And when everybody else has Roman Anthony and Christian Campbell in the top 10.
Where have you seen Campbell rank the highest?
Baseball America would be at number 4.
He was number 4 on Baseball America.
Correct. On MLB Pipeline, he was number 7.
When's the last time the Red Sox had 2 top 5 prospects in baseball at the same time?
Not very long ago. Yoan Moncada and Andrew Benintendi.
So I don't count that because Moncada was an international signing. Same way I don't count Sasaki as the number 1 prospect in baseball.
Sasaki being on these lists is disgusting. Because now
at least I think like Moncada was a teenager when he was an international free agent.
Yes.
Sasaki is like 45, dude. Like, get the fuck out of here.
It's disgusting that they were complicit in allowing the Dodgers to potentially get a pick for signing Roki Sasaki. Like, that's disgusting and I understand he qualifies, but that's abhorrent behavior. Truly.
I've killed Keith Law a lot, but I respect him just not putting Sasaki on his list at all.
Yeah.
He's just like,
Roman
Roman Anthony's my number 1.
He only has to be on 2, and he's on 2.
And I'm pretty sure the way it works with the PPI pick, it's ESPN's list, Baseball America, and MLB Pipeline. So Keith Law doesn't have to follow the same rules, I believe. The only thing I just wanted to mention about Keith Law, because the other rankings are, there's not a ton to say about them. Yoelin Cespedes appearing on his list made me really happy. That feels like a forgotten name this past year who, he was tearing everything up before he was about to come stateside. It was 25 games of dominance, and he had that hamate bone injury. And similar to Meyer, he never played after his promotion. I just feel like that's a guy that real quickly this spring and into the season, people will remember why there was so much buzz and helium with him, because the dude can friggin' hit, even if he isn't going to stick at shortstop.
Yeah, and Law, he writes a big long intro on how he does his. He says, my ranking is based on, do I think you can be a star or not? I don't give a fuck any other way you want to look at it. If I think you can be a star, I'm going to rank you higher. Because the numbers, he had what? Sebastian Walcott, 2, who's like still 19.
There were some crazy, some different things going on for him, but it's different. All these lists, they blend together.
I love it. But yeah, having Campbell anything other than like number 1 overall is wrong.
It was crazy. 26. And his whole thing, Kylie was just like, his swing is weird. That was the take.
That's so lazy.
Yeah. It seems so like people aren't really even that concerned with the swing at this point in time.
You should. Why would you be?
No.
The fuck? Why?
It's unorthodox, but it's not like Kevin
dominated the strike
there.
Zone last year and handled velocity with ease.
Yeah, and
early in the year he was getting beat.
Fields. His swing doesn't make him late anywhere.
No, it doesn't, because he's always ready to swing. It's very it's like how Hank Aaron would have approached it. I'm not comparing him to Hank Aaron. That would be insane. He's obviously Barry Bonds, but that's how guys used to do it. It's like, I'm sitting on any strike, I'm going to swing. It's a throwback type player. I think he's going to do very well.
Yeah,
obviously. I think that.
I will say too, Kylie has always been high on Marcelo Meyer, so it's not out of character to have him high, but considering what last year was, you think, a lot of stuff.
What was last year? 850, 860 OPS for Marcelo Meyer.
It was a
Marcelo
good year
Meyer.
for him as Double-A.
Red Sox fans are the only people shitting on Marcelo Meyer, by the way.
He has full Tristan Casas treatment at this point in time, full blown.
I think it's less deserved.
Where people just hate the guy just to hate the guy. Like, it's just strictly fuck this guy. He's lazy. He's not about baseball the way you want him to be. Yada, yada, yada. It's like, you guys don't even know anything about Marcelo Meyer.
Guy can't play video games anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It's like, there's just this immediate narrative that he's a bust because he was the 4th overall pick and Jordan Lawler, moved faster than him. He's just a bust. It's that simple. It's like, take a breather, guys, please. It's going to be 22 this year.
All right. We're going to do this bonus pod for Friday. What's today? Today's Wednesday? Yeah. Yeah. Bonus pod, do some voicemails, do some DMs. No Steve, no Jake, no fucking news. So
nothing.
I haven't seen any of the DMs. I haven't listened to any of the voicemails. So that episode could go in any possible direction. All right. We'll see you guys on Friday for the bonus pod. Hopefully full roster back next week as we get a little bit closer to pitchers and catchers and the 2025 season getting underway. Rest in peace, Bullet. Who signed that?
Chaim Bloom.
That's what I thought it said. That's
Chaim Bloom inscribed his autograph and said, "Rest in peace, Bullet."
Yep, he paid his respects. Oh no!
Wow.
What happened to Bullet? He died.
Yeah, he did.
My goat.
All right. See you next
That's
week.
Chaim
Ba-doop.
saying that too. People don't know that.
Ba-doop, doop, doop.
Buenas noches, amigos.